On my trip to Israel, I saw some of the world's most famous tourist attractions and some of the most beautiful places I have ever seen. Welcome to this video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy beautiful Israel. From the last video, link above if you have not watched it, we are now in Jerusalem, Shalom Hotel. We woke up, got on the bus, and made our way through the streets of Jerusalem to the Old City. We entered the Old City through the Lion's Gate. So we are going in through the Lion's Gate to the Old City. You can see the lions as we enter through this gate. The Lion's Gate leads into the Muslim quarter of the Old City. We are making our way to the Pool of Bethesda. This is where Jesus healed the man who had been paralyzed for 38 years. At the site, we saw the remains of the pool as well as the ruins of the church beside it. Then we make our way through the streets of the old city where there's a lot of police presence, I guess making sure everyone is safe. We go down the Via Dolorosa along the Way of the Cross, which are 14 stations that signify Jesus' journey to the cross, to the Western Wall or the Wailing Wall. This is one of the most popular sites in Jerusalem. It has the Wailing Wall. The wall is a remnant of the temple, which was first built by King Solomon. That temple was destroyed by the Babylonians. And after 70 years in exile, the Jews returned to Jerusalem to build the second temple, which was then destroyed by the Romans, and the Jewish nation was exiled again. While in exile, they never stopped mourning and longing to come back to Jerusalem to rebuild. So the Jews come to gather at the wall to pray and weep. Many people also come from all over the world to pray at the wall because of God's promise regarding the temple. So they stick their prayers in the crevices of the wall, trusting that God will answer their prayers. So I was at the wall, and there's me touching the wall. The Wailing Wall is the closest the Jewish people can get to the Temple Mount. We made our way onwards on the Way of the Cross to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is believed to house the place where Jesus was crucified and buried. This here marks the spot where they found the 3 crosses. Then we went into the Jaffa Gate Square, which leads to the Muslim, the Christian, and the Armenian quarters. And we make our way to Zion Gate, going up to the Room of the Last Supper. So the Room of the Last Supper is where Jesus had the Last Supper with the disciples before he was crucified. The apostles continued to gather in the upper room after the Last Supper, and it was also the site where the Holy Spirit descended upon them and other Christians on the day of Pentecost. The next day, we start off with Caesarea, one of the most beautiful sites in Israel. Located off the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, it is the magnificent site of the ruins of the city built over 2,000 years ago by Herod the Great, who knew how to live in luxury. We saw the ruins of the palace, horse race tracks, and residences of Roman royalty. It is a World Heritage Site and truly a must-see if you are visiting Israel. The view from the top of the amphitheater was amazing. The beaches were breathtaking. It shows how impressive Roman architecture was in those days. After the tour, we go out through the Crusader Gate, and I thoroughly enjoyed visiting Caesarea. Next up is Mount Carmel, where Elijah battled the prophets of Baal. From the top of Mount Carmel, we could see Kishon River, Mount Hermon, and Mount Tabor, as well as Nazareth. We went on to the Stella Maris Monastery on the slopes of Mount Carmel in Haifa. It is a Catholic monastery, and the main church inside the monastery is believed to contain the cave of Elijah, where Elijah lived. We were able to go down into the cave, as you can see. After Stella Maris, we went to get some good Mediterranean food. The food consists of a lot of salads and grains and breads, and it was really yummy. And it was good preparation for our next site, the Baha'i Gardens in Haifa. The view from standing at the top of these gardens, the Baha'i Gardens in Haifa, is truly one of the most beautiful views I have ever seen. Haifa is a northern Israeli port city, and it is a destination for cruise ships, so you might want to consider Haifa for your next cruise adventure. The gardens are terraced along the sides of Mount Carmel. There are 19 terraces, and they are absolutely beautiful. This is definitely another must-see site when you visit Israel. Next, we go to the beautiful church on the Mount of Beatitudes. It is the traditional site of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, and that was the end of a beautiful tour day in Israel. The next day, we head out to Cana of Galilee, where we had some in our group renew their wedding vows. Then fish and chips, and off to Galilee, the Sea of Galilee. This is where Jesus walked on water, where he calmed the storm and made Peter and Andrew into fishers of men. The Mount of Beatitudes, where he gave the Sermon on the Mount, is beside the Sea of Galilee, and it's also where he fed the masses with a few loaves and fish. A lot of things happened on the Sea of Galilee, which makes it a special place to visit. We went into our boat and cruised the Sea of Galilee. The boat flew the Nigerian flag and the Israeli flag, and we sang and we danced, and it was a very nice time. It is very surreal to actually be on the Sea of Galilee and be in the same place that the Bible talks about. From Galilee, we went to Capernaum, the city of Jesus, where we saw the Golan Heights, the house of Peter, and the synagogue, the ruins of the synagogue that would have been like the one that Jesus preached at in Capernaum. Then we went outside the synagogue to see the ruins of the village of Capernaum. This was where Jesus lived and grew up. There were some relics of the excavations from Capernaum, of the things that were in the temple, like the Ark of the Covenant and things like that. And of course, Capernaum is by the Sea of Galilee, so we could see the sea from Capernaum. After Capernaum, we went to the River Jordan, where on the wall we could see the governor of Ogun State had put up a plaque for Nigeria talking about the baptism of Jesus at the River Jordan. River Jordan, the Jordan River. So some of us were baptized here at the River Jordan, just like many other people do their baptism here as well. And that was the end of a very eventful day. The next day, we drove up Mount Tabor, or the Mount of Transfiguration, where Jesus was transfigured. So we went up this mountain, and got up to a point and took a taxi further up the mountain. The mountain overlooks the city of Nazareth.
City of Nazareth. Oh,
down the Korea.
yeah. Up Nazareth. Up Nazareth.
We're way up the mountain. And we saw this group of people who were actually walking up this mountain. This is a mountain that is 1,800 feet high, and they were walking up the mountain. Yeah, that was a sight to see. I think they were from India, walking all the way up this Mount Tabor, and even the child being pushed in the pram. Yeah, well done. So at the top of the mountain is the Catholic Church with mosaics depicting the Transfiguration, showing Jesus, Moses, and Elijah. After coming down the mountain, we went to the hotel of our tour company, which is called the Grand New Hotel or Tabor Hotel in Nazareth. This was where we had lunch. You can see the Nigerian flag flying high on this hotel. After lunch, we went through the streets of Nazareth up to the Basilica of Annunciation, which is the site where the angel appeared to Mary to announce the birth of Jesus. And this is also considered to be Mary's house. Our tour guide told us that it is the biggest church in the Middle East, and it was quite big with very interesting architecture, like the floors look like you are going down the stairs. And there were quite a number of people in the church praying, and of course the house of Joseph was close by, being that Mary and Joseph, they lived close together. So next we are going to the Church of St. Joseph. This marks the place where Joseph lived, and on entering the church we were able to go to the basement to see the carpenter's shop. With that and a final meal in our hotel in Tiberias, we end our final tour day in Israel. It's departure day, and it has been an amazing tour of the Holy Land. As we get towards our departure gate, I see people coming in on the other side, just like we did several days ago. Israel is a very interesting, complex, and beautiful country, packed with a load of history and very important to many people in the world. And as I make my departure in the middle of the night, just like I came, I am hoping that I will be able to come back again someday, so I can see all the other things I didn't see this time. I do hope that you enjoyed this series of the tour of Israel and all the places that we got to see during this trip. Do comment down below, as I would really love to know what you think about Israel and about all the sites that we were able to see. If you liked this video, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know whenever I upload new videos. Until I come your way again, until the next video, as I get on the plane, you go out and make it the best days of your life. Bye!